Baby, oh peaches, they look mellow, hanging way up in your tree. Baby, oh peaches, they look mellow, hanging way up in your tree. Get 'em on, your mellow peaches, 'cause I know they're so sweet. I'm gonna get me a step ladder, baby. Climb up on your top limb. Gonna get me a step ladder, baby. Climb up on your top limb. When I get myself the mellow peaches, it's gonna be too bad, Jim. Well, every time I desire to climb your tree, baby, well, I wonder what makes you smile. Well, every time I desire to climb your tree, baby, well, I wonder what makes you smile. Get yourself some mellow peaches, 'cause I know they're sweet and mild.
All right, welcome to Northwest Sessions on KZLX and KNWT Channel 8. My name is Alec Hen. Tonight with us, we have Alex Kirt. So yeah, how did you get into music, just in general? How did you end up playing guitar and singing?
Well, I've always liked music my whole life, and I started playing the guitar sort of when I was about 6 years old. My parents gave me a guitar, and I tinkered around with it, and I had a guitar teacher that didn't teach me how to play the kind of music that I wanted to play. So I didn't really take it seriously until I was maybe 13 or 14 years old. And then I started to play a lot and joined a band almost immediately. And we were terrible at first, and all of us had just begun playing together. And as time went on, the bands that I was in became better and better. At least people started to come and see us play, so I assumed we were better and better. And then I started to actually get paid for it. And that is what I did for the last, I don't know, up until about 2009. I did that starting in, I don't know, 1990 something.
You said there was like some rock in there and stuff. Is it usually like cover stuff, or do you guys in all those bands have even writing stuff?
Well, most of the bands that I've been in, we played a lot of original material. A couple of the bands I've been in, we played almost entirely original material. Like the touring band I was in, the Woodbox Gang, we played almost entirely original music. When we played originals, it went over really well, and when we played covers, it was just no good. We didn't do it very often. And if we did, we completely reworked the songs to where it sounded like we wrote them.
That's kind of cool, though. Almost like, I don't want to say like a remix or anything, but more like a different variation of that song.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool to give it your own flavor.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you try to play covers, there's this automatic expectation of people wanting it to sound like the original version. And I don't know. It seems like I don't want to imitate people myself. I mean, I'm influenced by a lot of pretty much anything I've ever heard a little bit, but I don't want to be like somebody else or imitate somebody else. And I kind of feel like a lot of people in cover bands don't want to either, but they just are expected to almost, you know?
So like when you guys, like your bands, different bands, what do you think out of all those groups has been like your favorite show you've played, or like the coolest place you've got to go through that?
Well, probably the coolest shows I ever played were in Carbondale, Illinois, where I'm from. Believe it or not, outside of Carbondale, not many people realize it, but there is a music scene there in this town that's got maybe, I don't know, 24,000 people in it, with a university that's got, I don't know, maybe 12,000 students, maybe 14,000, something like that. The music scene is just crazy there. I mean, there are houses that host concerts. Most of the bars in town have live music, and there are many. And it's been that way since, I don't know, probably the 60s or 70s at least.
Other than your favorite shows, have there been any that were just like train wrecks, anything that just like everything went awful?
Too many to count, honestly. Yeah.
Got any stories with that?
Well, let's see. There were actually times, there was one time where we were on tour. I can't remember how many weeks we were on tour, but it was at least 4 or 5 weeks that we were on tour. And we had been playing a show every day, sometimes twice a day. And we were really tired. I mean, you'd wake up in the morning, eat something, and just drive all day to the next show. Set up, maybe take a shower, maybe eat again, play, sleep, get up, do the same thing the next day, just over and over and over. So we got to this place this afternoon after all these weeks of traveling. We got to this place, and we pull up, and it was still the afternoon, and we loaded our equipment in. And we noticed that the place was just full of really seedy people that seemed like they were maybe on meth or something. And the owner of the club was just as bad. The bartender was just as bad. And we were loading our equipment in, and this really beat up Camaro pulls up out in front of the venue while we're loading our equipment in. And this guy has a gun laying on his thigh and just starts yelling profanities at us and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. He's just trying to he's trying to provoke us so that he will have a reason to shoot us. This guy's crazy. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. So we just walked into the club thinking, well, maybe we'll be safer in here. And we walked in, and I told the bartender about it. I was like, there's a guy outside with a gun, and he's like trying to provoke us, and call the cops, and this guy was just like, whatever, and I just couldn't believe this guy's reaction to it, like it was no big deal. So then we started to talk to them a little bit about the show that night and how things were going to go, and it seemed really iffy, and I was afraid that we weren't going to get paid what we were promised. So I just whispered to the guys, hey, load the equipment back in the car. And so we just did, and nobody was paying any attention. And we got back in the van, and we drove to a hotel outside of town and got a room. And we totally just ditched the show, and we went and watched a movie instead.
You know what?
Night off.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it might have been the safe choice there.
Yeah.
Like, especially if, like, the owner or the bartender or whatever, he's just like, hey, it's just another Tuesday or something. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of scary because that kind of gives you the impression that everyone is like that. And if you're in a big, bar full of these guys, that's a little unnerving.
Well, I was afraid also that they might rob our van that night while we were asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a rough town. It was in Detroit. Or not Detroit, Michigan, but it was a place outside of Detroit. But, I mean, just a rough place. And I thought, man, this isn't worth it. I mean, the guarantee was really low, and I was just like, why are we doing this? So we went and watched Pirates of the Caribbean, and I actually fell asleep in the air-conditioned movie theater. It was great.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good too.
Yeah.
You wanna play another song for us?
Sure.
I'm gonna pick up some of them empties here. Soon as I know where they lay, I'm gonna time off Johnny and leaving mines on a long hot summer day. Every day I work on the Illinois River, get a half a day off with pay. All day long making up barges on a long hot summer day. Well, I got me a gal in Pekin. She's a good old gal, okay. Well, I bet she's sitting by a window fan on a long, hot summer day. Well, every day I work on the Illinois River, get a half a day off with pay. All day long, making up barges on a long, hot summer day. Well, last night we had pork for supper. Tonight it'll be chicken consomme and a fruit jar full of iced tea on a long, hot summer day. Well, every day I work on the Illinois River, get a half a day off with pay. All day long making up barges on a long, hot summer day. Well, we put a man off in Beardston when we come down yesterday. Lord, now I'm getting off down in Alton on a long, hot summer day. Well, every day I work on the Illinois River, get a half a day off with pay. All day long, making up barges on a long, hot summer day.
Other than like let's see, like some artists and stuff that kind of influence it, like your style and stuff, do you have like anyone in your life that kind of like influenced music on you? When you said you started playing at 6, is that right?
That's when I got my first guitar and started taking guitar lessons, yeah, when I was 6 years old.
So did you have like a lot of people like in your life that were kind of like influencing that, like when you said you got into it when you were like 13, 14, is that what you said?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I really wanted to start playing in bands and things like that. But I just wanted to because I liked music so much. I've always liked music and art. I never really cared about sports.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and play one more for us?
Sure. One more. Let's see. What should it be? All right, here's one for you. I'll introduce this one. Okay, so in my band that I told you about called the Woodbox Gang, my songwriting partner was this guy named Hugh DeNeal, and his father was named Gary DeNeal. And Gary was the biographer of a infamous Prohibition-era gangster by the name of Charlie Berger. And he lived in southern Illinois, where I'm from, in the Shawnee Forest. And he was a bootlegger, and he had some brothels, and he was a murderer, killed a lot of people, but he was almost a Robin Hood figure in that region because he fought the cops all the time, and the revenuers, and a rival gang called the Shelton Gang, who were also bootleggers. And he fought against the KKK and actually killed one of the KKK's leaders, a guy named S. Glenn Young. So he was kind of a hero to the local people, even though he was a murderous gangster. He was kind of like Robin Hood, he was the beloved outlaw. But Hugh DeNeal's father, Gary DeNeal, wrote Charlie Berger's biography. It's a book called A Night of Another Sort. And in the year 2003, I believe, WSIU in Carbondale funded a documentary film about Charlie Berger, and Gary Daniil was one of the what would you call him? Advisor, I guess, for the film. Sorry for that pause. He was an advisor for the film, and he said that he would do it if they would allow us to write some songs for the film. And they were like, that sounds great. They can write them all. They can do all the music if they want. And I was just like, really? That's so cool. So we wrote an entire album of songs about the gangster Charlie Berger. And yeah. So this is one that we actually completely reworked. This is one of the only songs that we played on a regular basis that we didn't write the lyrics to. And this is a song that we learned. It was written about Charlie Berger the year that he was hanged in 1928. And a fella named Vernon Dalhart recorded it first, probably in 28 or 29. So this is called The Ballad of Charlie Berger, or The Hanging of Charlie Berger.
I tell you of a bandit out in a western state who never learned his lesson until it was too late. This man was bold and fearless, a leader of his gang. His boldness did not save him when the law said you must hang. When the law said you must hang. When the law said you must hang. His boldness did not save him when the law said you must hang. Bandit's name was Berger, and he lived in shady rest. People learned to fear him throughout the Middle West. Way down in Old West City, Joe Adams was shot down. The cry of justice said, these murderers must be found. These murderers must be found. These murderers must be found. The cry of justice said, these murderers must be found. On the 19th day of April in 1928, way out west in Benton, Charlie Berger met his fate. Another life has ended and another chapter done. Another man has gambled in the game it can't be won. In the game it can't be won. In the game it can't be won. Another man